It's a pleasure to have you join us here again. The Nigerian government has launched another emergency evacuation mission to bring home hundreds of its citizens from South Africa as fears of renewed xenophobic violence continue to spread across the country. Just hours before anti-immigration groups' self-imposed June 30 deadline, the federal government confirmed that 271 Nigerians will be airlifted back home in what is becoming one of the largest emergency repatriation efforts involving Nigerians living in South Africa. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, an Air Peace aircraft is scheduled to depart Nigeria for Johannesburg to evacuate the stranded citizens who voluntarily registered to return home after weeks of growing anxiety over their safety. Government officials say the aircraft will leave Nigeria in the afternoon, arrive in South Africa later in the evening, and depart shortly after midnight with the returnees, who are expected to land safely in Lagos the following morning. The evacuation comes after previous rescue flights returned hundreds of Nigerians who feared becoming victims of renewed anti-foreigner hostility. The latest operation follows weeks of mounting tension across South Africa, where anti-immigration vigilante groups have intensified calls for undocumented foreign nationals to leave the country before June 30th. Although many of the campaign messages have focused on undocumented migrants, fear has spread among both documented and undocumented African migrants, with many saying they no longer feel safe. Videos circulating on social media have shown demonstrations, confrontations, and growing hostility towards foreign nationals, creating uncertainty within migrant communities across several provinces. For many Nigerians living in South Africa, the atmosphere has become increasingly intense. Community leaders have previously reported that many migrants have been staying indoors, avoiding business activities, and limiting their movement for fear of harassment or attacks. Several have also claimed that businesses owned by foreigners have suffered losses due to declining customer traffic and concerns over possible violence. This development prompted many Nigerians to register for the federal government voluntary evacuation program, preferring to return home rather than risk being caught up in an unrest. The evacuation program has not been without challenges. Earlier rescue operations experienced delay due to logistical and administrative issues, leaving hundreds of registered Nigerians waiting for days before flights could be arranged. At one stage, uncertainty over aircraft availability and payment arrangements reportedly slowed the process, causing frustration among those who had already packed their belongings in anticipation of returning home. Despite those setbacks, Nigerian authorities maintain that every registered citizen willing to return will eventually be evacuated. The resumption of evacuation flights is therefore being seen as an important breakthrough. Government officials say the operation demonstrates Nigerians' commitment to protecting its citizens abroad, particularly during periods of heightened insecurity. While authorities have not indicated whether additional evacuation flights will follow this latest mission, previous statements suggested that more Nigerians remain on an evacuation list and could be brought home if necessary. The June 30th deadline announced by anti-immigration groups has attracted attention across Africa. The several countries closely monitoring developments involving their citizens in South Africa. Reports indicate that other African nations have also assisted nationals wishing to return home because of concerns over safety. The situation has once again heightened the recurring challenge of xenophobic tensions in South Africa, where outbreaks of violence against foreign nationals have occurred periodically over the past 2 decades. South African authorities, however, have repeatedly condemned any form of xenophobic violence. The government has insisted that immigration enforcement remains the responsibility of law enforcement agencies and has warned vigilante groups against taking the law into their own hands. Police and security personnel have reportedly increased patrols in several areas identified as potential flashpoints, while urging residents to remain peaceful and respect the rule of law. Officials have also stressed that foreign nationals should not become targets of violence or intimidation simply because of their nationality. For the Nigerians boarding the evacuation flights, however, the journey home represents more than just transportation. It is the end of weeks of uncertainty, fear, and waiting. Many expected to arrive in Lagos with hopes of rebuilding their lives after abandoning businesses, jobs, and communities they once called home, while some may eventually return to South Africa if conditions improve. Others may decide to remain in Nigeria permanently after this experience. As the Air Peace aircraft prepares for its mission, attention now shifts to events on the ground in South Africa. Security agencies remain on high alert as authorities continue monitoring developments surrounding the June 30th deadline. Whether the heightened security presence will prevent further violence remains to be seen, but for at least 271 Nigerians, the opportunity to return home safely has finally arrived after weeks of uncertainty. Let us know your opinion in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more news reports. I'm Chidera Eso. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next report.